Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let it take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome to Wisconsin Family. I'm Janet Crescent.
And I'm Justin Riley, and we are at Steinway Sons over on the west side of Madison. It's good to be back here, Janet.
It's always good to be here, and you know, it's actually good to have them in my living room, I have to say.
Yeah.
I have the television on, and of course, Channel 57.
Of course.
And I love their commercials here for Steinway and Sons, because I'll be doing something in the house, and I'll just hear the piano start to play.
Yep.
And it sounds so nice, and let's ask them for more commercials like that.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be talking with Ben, the owner, later on in the program. And that's right, this is a locally owned store. So I think it's important for viewers to know that this isn't a franchise or a chain or anything like that. This is locally owned right here in Madison, Wisconsin. And so we're going to learn a little bit about how that got started and the owner's story behind it. So that should be fun.
Yep, and maybe how to get a Steinway in your home.
There you go.
As well. We're also talking local dance. The Nutcracker is going to be coming up soon. We are talking with Jo-Jean Rettrum from Monona Academy of Dance.
Talk about a powerhouse in the dance world.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
is.
She's known not just here in Madison, not just in Wisconsin, but really all over the country. People know her from all over, and she's trained so many dancers in so many different ensembles that are across the country. They got their start right here at the Monona Academy of Dance in Dance, Wisconsin. So it's really a pretty cool thing, and we're going to learn a little bit about what's going on for her now.
Right, and not just with kids, but actually adults too. She does adult classes. I think ballroom is one, maybe
Yep.
some boot camps.
Yep,
We'll find out, but it's not just for kids.
And we're going to talk a little bit about criminal law, and specifically the appeals process in criminal law. It's not quite the dramatic courtroom scene that you might be thinking. There's a lot of knowledge and experience and research that goes into that. And we're going to learn that from Christopher Ellis of Ellis Law. So that's coming up right after the break.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
'Cause every day is a new day. 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We're filming today at Steinway and Sons Piano Gallery. It's on Mineral Point Road. You know, one of the things I love about our program is that we get to learn about businesses and what they do, what they have to offer. But today we're going to learn why the owner of Steinway decided to open this piano gallery.
That'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I like that. But right now, I don't know how we segue into law, but we're meeting with a lawyer right here. Joining us is Christopher Ellis. Thanks for stepping in today and
No
chatting
problem.
with us. Let's start with, what kind of law do you practice?
My main area of focus is criminal law. That includes criminal appeals.
This sounds serious.
Yeah, I mean, generated criminal is trial level. Appeals, it's not more serious, I guess, just a continuation of the trial process.
Okay.
Are you in court quite a bit? I'm just curious.
For an appeal, no.
Okay.
Basically, if you file a motion afterwards, I'm sure you're familiar with the trial level stages from
Right.
movies and TV.
Right, yeah.
But basically, an appeal, it's basically more legal research, research, drafting,
Sure.
stuff like that. So
Sure.
anyway, if you file a motion, you might have to go to court to argue on it. If you do
Okay.
actually go through the appeal process, there is an oral argument that you might have for your brief.
Sure.
But basically, you're looking at those two times.
So you're mentioning appeal here, and I guess maybe some of our viewers, and myself included, what exactly is an appeal?
An appeal is basically the defendant's chance to take the case to a higher court
Okay.
and have the higher court review the case. And then so basically, again, with the trial level, most people are familiar with, but if you lose at the trial level, you have a chance to take it to an appeal to have the higher court review it to make a determination.
Sure.
This gives the defendant a chance to raise any issues that he feels that the trial court erred on or something
Yeah.
like that. So one example would be at the trial level, if you filed a motion and lost on that motion, then you can take it to the Court of Appeals and see if the Court of Appeals feels differently than the trial court did.
Okay.
And that's where you come in to review that appeal?
Yes, it can be the same attorney, but sometimes it's a different attorney, and especially if you're looking into an ineffective assistance of counsel, a different attorney would be better to review the case.
Right.
But essentially, once the trial attorney is done with the case, then it goes over to an appellate attorney, and then they re-review. And then basically we get the court record, the transcript, trial attorney file, and re-review everything just to kind of see if an error was made.
I think I've heard you say that you actually kind of like this part of law because it's based on the the law and interpreting the law and following the letter of the law,
Yes.
not establishing what facts.
Yes, it's less fact related, more law related. Basically, in continuation with that, basically at the trial court level, it's very kind of on the spot type situation. You know, you have a DA who, an issue comes up, DA says something, maybe they did research on it, defense attorney may not have had time to look into it, and the judge makes a ruling sometimes on the spot if at trial or something. So for example, an objection would be made, and let's say the judge doesn't actually even have time to look into himself, not saying he really made a mistake, but essentially ruled against the law.
Right.
I guess that would be a mistake. But anyway, he ruled
But he
against,
ruled based on what he knew.
yes, he didn't have time to do the
Yeah.
research. So with an appeal, it gives you a chance to kind of sit down, take the time to do legal research. And then at the Court of Appeals, the judges, same thing, they get the brief, they have the time to do the research that a trial judge might not have
Right.
on the spot.
Sure, interesting.
So if someone is going to go with an appeal process, what are some of the issues that they tend to run into or can run into?
There are some simple ones, such as sentence credit. And in case you didn't know this, but if you're sitting in jail for the charge prior to trial, when you're sentenced, you're actually entitled to those days added to your sentence or taken away.
Taken away.
Sure.
And that's sentence credit. And sometimes, and this is again on the spot thing, if all the parties didn't know the proper sentence credit or they counted wrong, and then that's something that you can appeal. And then basically when I look at it, I would again look at the record, see how many days the person was supposed to get, make a determination, and then if I feel that the judgment of conviction was wrong, file a motion, notify the court, and then, like I said, that'd be a more simple one. Generally, as long as I'm actually right, there's no issues to argue about it.
Right.
There are some more complicated ones, such as if the police didn't have a search warrant or they violated the defendant's Miranda rights. Something like that would take more research. The DA would probably object to my motion, so that might be something that I have to take to
Sure.
the Court of Appeals.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it kind of sounds like you're really there to look out for people's best interests and make sure that none of their rights were violated or anything like that
Yes.
during the process. So
Yes.
I mean that's good to know. So typically, how long does an appeal take?
Depends on the appeal, but essentially you're looking at a year or two.
Wow.
Yes, it does. It's very lengthy, and just to kind of start with, not to try and bore you too much, but essentially, once I request the court record and transcripts, they then have 60 days to give that to me. Once I receive all that, I then have 60 days to review it and make a decision. If we file a post-conviction motion, the court has, it's either 40 or 60, I can't remember the exact days,
Yeah.
to rule on that. And then after that, I believe then I would have 20 days to file a notice of appeal, and then it's,
And this is why you hire someone like
Right,
this
exactly,
to keep
exactly.
track of all of that.
Each stage, though, it takes about a month or two, basically, so that's
Wow.
why the
It-
whole time it's very lengthy.
It does add up.
Do people ever file for extensions beyond the 60-day mark?
Yes,
Yeah,
extensions
so-
are very common. Court of
Yeah.
Appeals tend to grant those fairly often.
Yeah.
I try not to do that just simply because I haven't looked at the file.
Right.
But essentially, sometimes if there's a conflict of interest and the file comes to me, I'll have like a week to make a determination, which obviously is enough. So I notify the Court
Right.
of Appeals that I'll need more time to
Right.
make a determination.
All righty. Well, Christopher, thank you so much. This is Christopher Ellis. You're at 995 Applegate Road?
Yes.
And is that, how do people find you? Phone number, website?
Phone number on the bottom of the screen, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Phone number. I do have a website as well.
All right, we'll put those on the screen. then.
Okay.
All right, thanks again. We're at Steinway, and we'll be right back.
'Cause every day is a new day. 'Cause every day is a new day.
And welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We're filming today at Steinway Sons Piano Gallery. Thought we'd class up the show a little bit.
A little bit.
Little bit. Doesn't take much.
You were elbowing me like I'm classing up the show. I don't think that's the case here.
We're also classing up the show with our next guest here. We're talking dance with Jo Jean Rettram of Monona Academy of Dance and Dance Wisconsin. Thanks for coming in today.
I'm very happy to be here.
I bet you're feeling at home with all these pianos around you, aren't you?
I love it because we have a pianist that plays for a lot of our ballet classes, so
Sure.
it's really nice.
So you recently had a performance called Portraits of Strength. The last time we talked with you, we're wondering how it went.
It was awesome. I mean, the dancers were amazing. We started with Sleeping Beauty, so we could, show the classics. A lot of young people don't get to see classical ballets.
Right.
So that was really a lot of fun and education for my dancers too. And the show was spectacular. We did a water ballet. So at the end of the show, because you couldn't clean up all the water, we made like a box that had water in it, and the dancers were dancing, and they were splashing. There was water all over. It was awesome. But you could just see, like rainbows of water,
Wow.
and they were dancing in it. It was really, really cool.
That's interesting. When you
Yeah.
said water ballet, of course, I'm thinking of a pool, and
Yeah.
this was something very different.
Yeah, they were
Wow.
splashing it.
So you had to end the show with that?
Yeah,
It'd be
because
hard to,
it took a while to clean it all up. Yeah.
Right, yeah, that'd be a little bit of time. So Portraits of Strength is over, and when does Nutcracker start?
Well,
When do you start
we've
working on
already
that?
rehearsed 3 weeks on Nutcracker,
Really?
so
Okay.
it overlaps. Last night we did auditions for like the company and different lead parts and things like that. So, yeah, it's already in the works. We're fundraising for it. We sell pizzas, wreaths, Yankee candles. We do
Yeah.
all different kinds of things to help raise money to put on the production. We're going to make some new costumes, making a new Mother Ginger. Mother Ginger costume is 40 years old.
Wow.
Due for an update?
Falling apart, yes. it really
Wow.
is.
Wow.
Might not survive this year.
Yeah.
One more year, that is. So
Yeah.
when does Nutcracker performance actually go on?
It's December 16th and 17th at the New Shannon Hall at the Union Theater.
Okay,
So-
It's a
great.
beautiful facility.
Okay, so you rehearse for 2 months?
Oh,
Over
yeah.
2 months.
But we only rehearse on the weekends, so it's either Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon,
Right.
so it's once a week. So, like 8, 9 times. It's not that much.
Not that many.
I see it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you rely on, now this is kind of a curiosity question, do you rely on the fact that you have people returning from year to year who kind of know the show a little bit?
Yeah,
Good
some,
question.
but then you
Yeah.
have new kids who've never even seen the performance.
Right.
So then you have to carefully, teach them so they don't
Right.
feel bad that they don't know all the choreography. But
Right.
yeah, young kids, they just sort of on a ladder going up, and
Right.
they know some of the parts because they've watched it for so long.
Right, yeah.
Let's extend on that. So the value of dance, I think when we talk with you, we often are thinking of the little ones, or even, I guess, the teenage kids that are dancing, and the value of dance. Can you speak to that?
Well, personally, I just think it has so much value because it teaches so much self-confidence and poise. And so many of my kids are so smart, and they have to learn, though, in order to, keep their grades up, how to budget their time. And these are life skills that, so many dancers learn. And I just think it has a lot more value even than sports, even though, dance really is considered a sport, because you have your warm up and you have all the athletic things, but it's also an art form. So,
Exactly.
I think of it as a higher level sport that has a lot more value and something I feel you can do longer in life. You can't play football when you're 60,
Right.
but you can still dance.
You can dance.
Good point. And there's this interesting combination, I think, with dance that you're doing an individual performance and yet part of,
A big group.
yeah.
So you learn a lot of teamwork.
Teamwork, yep.
With it. So and you build friendships, and you even like we belong to Regional Dance America, and there's companies from all over the country, and so children get to meet friends that they run into the rest of their lives.
That's cool.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
cool. They have network
Yes.
friends across the country.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, some of our viewers, and I'm sure you know that I have a background in music, and one of the things that I was always taught is that all music is either a song or a dance. So talk to us a little bit about how dance and music work together.
Yeah, and in the schools now, they're not doing as much music. So when I'm teaching children dance, I've really found that they're not listening to the music.
Right.
They don't know how to count the music. They
Right.
just want to move, and they're not really,
Right.
learning about music. So, I make the kids clap. I made them
Yeah.
really listen to the beat of the music. It's so important. And I think a lot of children are missing out on that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do my best in training them about, the love of music.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun. It makes you feel so
Right.
good.
You have to move with music to sometimes to really feel the expressive
Yeah.
qualities of it.
Yeah.
Can we go one step into adults and the adult classes you have? Because it doesn't stop when you're a teenager.
Right, right. Well, I think a lot of people think it does, and they just really think about their children, but they also have to think about themselves.
Right.
We're going to be starting some boot camp classes because we finished our 4th studio. So we're going to be doing that at 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, you can use any studio you want.
Right.
I won't be there at 6
Right.
o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So we got yoga and Pilates and
Sure.
the progressing ballet technique. So we have lots of things to offer our adults. Their children can take class while they're doing a class.
We just have a few seconds left, but I want to make sure that we mention that ballroom classes are starting soon.
Yes, I'm starting ballroom classes on Friday nights from 6:30 to 7:30. And I mean, it's really a lot of fun, and you use it so much, even going to weddings or the Frosty Ball, and so you get prepared to have some fun.
Yep.
Get ready for your gala by stopping over at Monona Academy of Dance. Thanks, Joe Jean.
Thank you.
So they're just a hop, skip, or a sachet off the belt line on Stoughton Road.
Good one.
We're at Steinway Piano Gallery, and we'll be right back.
'Cause every day is a new day. 'Cause every day is a new day.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We're here at Steinway Sons over on the west side of Madison, and I'm really excited to be talking with owner Ben Garber. How are you, Ben?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us again. And we always learn so much by coming here. And I want people that, right off the bat, I want people to know that this is a locally owned store. Yes, you use the Steinway brand, but you are here in Madison, Wisconsin, and so you are truly a local owner.
We are it. We're a very small business with a very few people taking care of pianos.
There you go. There you go. So we've talked a lot about the products and things that you have to offer here in the past, but I'm kind of curious to know your why, how you got started in pianos, what made you interested, and where you got your start.
Yeah, it's a good question, right? I mean, pianos are great instruments, but they've been around for a long time, and they may not have the cachet of some new technology, right? Yeah, I got started, I think like a lot of people, taking piano lessons as a child, 5 or 6 years old, with my mother, believe it or not.
Oh, wow, okay.
She was my first teacher, sort of a part-time teacher.
Sure.
And a hand-me-down spinet piano from my grandmother.
Wow.
So it was enough to get going, right?
There you go.
Between mom and grandma.
Yeah, right?
Come on,
yeah. I think I liked it. I mean, everybody wants to start. I hear that a lot from students. But then the question becomes, do you stay in it, right? So there were many times in my life I think I wanted to do something else.
Right.
And then I got pulled back, right? In high school, I probably was about done with piano.
Yeah.
And then I became the choir accompanist. So then it was a
That's
identity.
a pretty big jump.
Right. And then in college, I was a chemistry major.
Okay.
And then I decided I'd double major because I couldn't give up piano completely.
Yeah.
And so somehow I spent more time in the music building here at UW than in the chemistry building. So
yeah. Anybody who is involved in music in college, that's just how it is, I think, is they spend more time there than...
it becomes a passion.
Yep.
So Ben, you also have, I think, some unique talents in that you not only are a performer, but you know about the technology behind pianos, and what made you decide to do both?
Yeah, it's unusual for people to be technicians, performers, and teachers, and it is kind of a blending of passions for me. The funny thing is, I grew up around engineers. I had a family of, everyone in my family was engineers, so I grew up learning how to take things apart and fix them, cars and bikes and houses and whatever, right? So when I was in graduate school, the idea of getting into the piano and repairing it and tuning it actually was pretty natural, pretty easy.
Sure.
And so there was a professor there that wanted to create a degree program, and I got kind of shuttled into that.
A degree program for piano?
For piano technology,
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
It turned out to be pretty complimentary, actually, to play and service pianos. But it was just unusual.
I would think that would enhance just everything, your overall experience. If something's not sounding right, you have that ear for it.
It does. It's such a full-time discipline. I think that for somebody to commit that much time to learning about how to repair and tune a piano, they have to take it away from something else, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about the importance of music in general. Why do you think that it's so important for people to invite music and pianos into their lives and their homes?
Yeah, as a piano teacher, I've seen this so many times. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I would point to. One is this sort of left brain, right brain part, right? Studies are showing that we've done so much left brain work for the last century, but we're actually seeing a tip towards wanting to see the big picture and be more creative. And really music does that so well for students. And I've been teaching for 26 years now, and I've seen the results in these kids, right? How amazing they grow up to be.
Yeah, yeah, and it's, you know, playing music really is kind of, I've heard it said that playing music is really the perfect marriage between left and right brain.
Yeah, it really is. And the longer you do it, the more that becomes true. Turns out piano is very cognitive, so it starts out as fairly left brain intensive, but then as you do it longer, it becomes more creative.
Wow.
You're always looking at the big picture, the whole orchestra, as it were, the top and the bottom.
Right.
So that's what I like about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if a lot of things are actually like that because you spend so much brain power learning at first, and later it becomes more natural, and you can become creative in so many different things.
I think that's true, yeah.
So you mentioned teaching earlier, yes, and that's yet another thing that you do. And what motivated you to do that?
You know, I always enjoyed being around children, so I like that part, and I'm really much better one-on-one than I am in large groups. So I liked the idea of teaching. I really do prefer to share what I know. Once I've learned something myself, I kind of want to tell other people about it. So, you know, a one-on-one teaching situation seemed to be the right fit. I enjoy it.
And how many years have you taught now?
26, 27, something like that.
Wow. Wow, and I can see that in you, that you would be really good with kids. So do you prefer, how young do you start kids in lessons?
The youngest I've started is 3.
Okay.
3, 4 can begin if they're ready.
Sure.
Otherwise, you know, I would say probably 5 is more average.
Sure.
I don't know if this is a dumb question, but when you have a 3-year-old, are you using like a regular piano? Do they just have a little booster chair?
Yeah, we can sit up higher if necessary. Yeah, I believe in just kind of using what we have, you know. We adjust as we go, so.
Yeah, that's really neat. I like that.
So here's the $1 million question, Ben.
Literally, probably.
You know, mixing passions that you were talking about earlier, what made you decide to actually open this store?
Yeah, well, I was working, so right after graduate school, I had jobs at various Steinway dealers in the country, in Houston and here in Madison. And I was doing a lot of tuning and a lot of teaching, and then I got a position here where I was doing sales as well. And I found that to be a nice fit too, because I was helping people make decisions about what they would bring into their home, as we kind of say, helping people avoid piano mistakes.
Right.
Really in all price points, not just about sort of high-level pianos, but even people that just want an inexpensive piano but just don't want it to be a big paperweight.
Right, yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a good reason, I think.
So you said that you worked in Steinway galleries in the past, and is that why you chose Steinway here for this?
That, and I had played on Steinways often as a child, and I was always inspired by the sound. It was just such a beautiful piano to me. And then as I learned more about the company, it's such a great piece of history for us. It's such a blending of art and engineering. It's been around for 164 years. I mean, how many companies have made the best product in the marketplace for that long?
Yeah.
It's a really astounding story.
What a good point, yeah.
So, but we got about a minute left, but I want to make sure that our viewers know how they can start piano lessons here at the Steinway store. What are the steps? Is it call, email, web?
Call or email. We always do like a free meeting to help people understand what the process is like, ask questions, and sort of point them in the right direction, let them meet maybe a couple of teachers if they want to try some things out.
Sure. And do you have ongoing enrollment, or are there certain enrollment periods?
No, yeah, anytime is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do the lessons happen here?
Yep, here in the store.
Okay.
And for parents who maybe don't have a piano or something for their kids to practice on at home, do you provide that for the?
Yep, well, we can do rentals.
Right.
So yeah, that's an easy way to get started if you want to rent something. And everybody thinks Steinway is expensive. We can rent pianos as little as $59 a month.
Wow.
And one thing I love about Steinway now is that we have prices in every price range, products in every price range.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Ben Garber, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
And it's always a pleasure coming here to shoot the show. And we have been Wisconsin Family. We're here at the Steinway store. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The beat, clap your hands, let's take control. All